Today we're interviewing Mrs. Kathy Hunt, Secretary at Dean's School. How did you decide to move to South Brunswick?
How did I decide to move to South Brunswick? I had originally lived in New Brunswick, and in just riding around the area, we decided that we liked South Brunswick. We liked the location. We liked it out in the country and its accessibility to New Brunswick, and primarily because we found the people to be very friendly here.
How was South Brunswick different from now when you moved here?
Well, a lot more industry has come in. Do you know where Herman Forwarding Company is down the street? The big terminal, the big trailer terminal?
Yeah.
Well, when I first moved here, all that was there was horses. It was a big pasture of horses. And that was back in 1965. So those are the changes that have, some of the changes that have taken place. Dayton Square was all fields.
When did you decide to be a secretary at Dean's School?
Dean's School? 1975. I had worked in the preschool when my son, who's now a junior in high school, was here. And I just liked the school, and when the job opened, I applied for it, and I've stayed here.
Was it hard?
Was what hard? Being a secretary? It's easier now than it was then.
What did you like about being a secretary in South Brunswick?
In South Brunswick? That's a hard question. I think I like the age that you children are now. I like that, and I like the staff here, and primarily that was the reason. I like the diversity of the work. When I was younger, yes. I had gone to a parochial school in Brunswick, and we wore uniforms.
Did you live in an apartment or in a house when you came here?
When I first came here,
Yeah.
we bought a new house right around the corner on Deans Road, Hall Road.
Why wouldn't you work at Dayton School?
Why wouldn't I work at Dayton School? Oh, there's no reason I wouldn't. I've substituted there. I have worked there for a few days. I just particularly like seeing you start at this age and then follow through.
When you moved to South Brunswick, were there many stores around?
No, when I moved to South Brunswick, Rodner's store next door used to be a general store. Used to be Charlie's store. And Butler's was still there. That was it. There was no Dayton Deli. There was no Krauser's, of course. Those have all come later.
Was Butler's better now than it was before when you moved here?
Yes. Mr. Butler is still there. He hasn't changed, but the store has, created a nicer image for itself. He's repaired it.
Was there a nursing school?
Mrs. Bach has always been a nurse.
How much money did you get being a secretary?
It increases each year. When you first come in, just like your daddy, you negotiate for like your daddy would negotiate for a salary with his company. And then as time goes on, because you improve with the job, you are given a raise.
What did you like about being a secretary in South
What did I like? I like that no day is ever the same. Every day you have a different problem. Every day the teachers have a different kind of a problem. So it makes life very interesting.
Did anything ever happen to you before you moved here?
Before I moved here? Prior, you mean when I was young?
Yeah.
Let's see. I went to school in New Brunswick. I have, let's see. In our last interview, we were talking about, I bought a picture. You were all about 8, 9 years old, okay? This is a picture of me at your age when we were saying, what did you wear? That's not a picture in a uniform, but that's what I would have looked like at your age. We were young.
When you moved here, did you live in a different house than you live now?
Yes.
What did you ride in when you came to school?
When I lived around the corner, I could walk. I used to walk back and forth. In fact, I could walk through the woods behind.
That far.
No, it wasn't.
What's your favorite school subject?
What was my favorite school subject? It was geography, which you call social studies,
When did you start being a secretary?
in 1975.
Was it hard being a secretary when you first started, or did it get easier?
Well, like anything else, when you're learning a subject, in the beginning you find it hard till you start grasping things, and then like you look back, some of the things that you thought were very hard to learn in the beginning, now that you understand them, are easier. And that's the same way when you work.
Was there a nurse at your school?
Mrs. Bach has been a nurse since I've been here. She's been a nurse here in the district for 26 years.
When you went to school, were you dreaming of being a secretary?
No, never thought about it. Never thought about it.
But how did you learn, how did you know how to be a secretary? How did you get the
Okay,
idea?
when I went to high school, I took college courses because I had thought I would like to go into social work. And then some things came up and I changed my mind. And in high school, I had a part-time job in a travel agency in New Brunswick. And they asked me to work for them after I graduated from high school, which I did. And at that point, they sent me to American Airlines Sales School. And I went there for 6 months in Newark. I used to commute to Newark.
Did you change many schools?
No. All of my grammar school years were in New Brunswick, and my 4 years, we didn't go, the schools were not split. I went 8 years to one school and then 4 years to another school.
Do you know shorthand? And if you do, do you know anything?
Yes. I went to, after I was working in a travel agency, I went to Drake's Secretarial School in New Brunswick.
Do you or Mrs. Eichenberry invite people to come to our school?
That has been Mrs. Eichenberry's project. I only assist her in that.
How come you don't do it? Just because you're the secretary, Mrs. Eichenberry sometimes can just leave you up to it.
Well, Mrs. Eichenberry has worked up the idea, which was really a nice idea.
If you got a chance to be a secretary in the classroom, would you?
Well, that's a very sad thing. This is going to be my last year as secretary here. Because with Greenbrook closing down, the secretary from there has been reassigned here. So I will be at the high school. So I'll have to wait to catch you when you get to the high school.
Are you going to be there when other people, when we get there?
I hope so, unless I'm back here.
I hope you're not, because I want you at the high school.
Oh,
You're
thank you.
such a nice secretary.
Thank you. I'll start there in September.